Hi, it's Larry again, here to talk about how to adopt the how can I help attitude to get a great job in 2 months. In this section, we're going to talk about stop saying stupid stuff, get your professional identity, and look for people to help. Let's start by talking about Vic. Vic was a flight test engineer. His comment after going through this was, I'm having so much fun on this job search. Let's share how he got that. He was a aviation flight test engineer who lost his job, took our workshop, and learned the 5 keys to get a great job. The first day of the workshop, he really wrestled with this concept of, how can I help? Treat people like they're people rather than a chase. But by the second day of the workshop, he got it and he implemented it. And 2 weeks later, he came back and he said, I'm having so much fun on this job search. May I share 3 quick stories? He said, the first story I want to share is the Friday after I took your course, I got an email from someone that I had already sent my resume to. They worked in a government institution. They were the HR person, and they had said, I'll send your resume around. He said, my first thought was, yeah, right, like that's going to happen in government work. He said, but they shocked me. The Friday after I took your course, I got an email from this person. And in it, she said, I think you can improve your resume with the following changes. He said, she made my week. All I wanted to do, I remembered what you said, treat her like a human being. How can I help? And I called her up and I said, I just want to thank you for that email you sent me. You made my week. No one has ever reached out to help me improve like that. I'm going to make the changes. Is it okay if I send it back? But my real purpose is thank you. Thank you for giving me those suggestions. He said a couple of days later, I was on the phone to someone in Texas, and I remembered, how can I help? Treat them like a human being. And so I just said, so how's the weather down there? And the lady said, it's 46 degrees. He said, you must be freezing because none of the buildings down there have heaters in them, do they? And she said, yeah, how did you know that? He said, oh, I flew jets down the road from you at the Air Force Base for 6 years. I know all about those buildings. She said, really, what jet did you fly? And he told her the jet. She says, fascinating. We just got the contract to do the 15-year upgrade on that jet, and we can't find anybody who has experience on it. And by this time, he knew exactly what to say. His answer was, how can I help? Third story, he said, because of unemployment, I have to apply for everything. And there was a radar company looking for interns, and I've worked with radar, so I had to apply. And they called me, and they said, we'd like to talk to you. And he said, Larry, the first thing out of my mouth was, but I don't want to be an intern. He said, I realized immediately I'd made it about me. That job seeker mentality had sucked me back in. Instead, I turned around and I said, but how can I help? And what radar are you working on? And they told me. I said, oh, does it still have these problems? And they said, yes. In fact, that's what we're trying to fix. And he said, oh, I've got some ideas. How about if I send you an email and see if it helps? I said, Larry, so I took about an hour, 2 hours, and I drafted an email with some workarounds, and I sent it to them. And they called me yesterday. And they said, I showed your email to the engineers. They'd love to talk to you. He said, Larry, I know I didn't say it this time, but I still don't want to be an intern. I said, Vic, they're not viewing you as an intern. They're viewing you as a solution to their problem. See, Vic understood that by looking at how he could help, whether it could be for free or on a 30-day contract or as a W-2 employee, his approach was, how can I help you achieve your goals? As a result, 4.5 weeks after being laid off, Vic found a job through that lady who had sent him the suggestions on the resume, paying 15% more than he'd been making on the previous job, working as an aviation flight test engineer in a state that doesn't have too many of those jobs. So this concept of how I can help works. let's talk about the first step in adopting the how can I help attitude, and that is you've got to stop saying stupid stuff. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of examples of stupid stuff. Had one guy, he was looking for a job as a men's retail clothier. He had been looking for 8 weeks. He had been doing everything we'd taught and hadn't got a job. And his coach grabbed me one day and said, you got to meet with him. And I sat down and I said, okay, give me your approach. I said, first, what is your ideal job? He says, I'd like to be a men's retail clothier at this store. And I said, okay, I am the sales manager for that store. Call me. Acme Department Store, Larry Stevenson, he says, hi, my name is so-and-so, and I'm looking for a job as a men's retail clothier, and I filled out your online application, and I'd like to come in and talk to you. And I said to him, let me send you to Human Resource. And he got mad at me. He said, that's what everyone does. Why does everyone keep sending me to Human Resource? I said, well, because that's what you told me to do. He said, what do you mean? I said, when you called, how did you identify yourself? That I was looking for a job, and I'd filled out your online application. I said, okay, who in the company talks to job seekers? Is it sales managers? Who do sales managers talk to? They talk to people who are either customers, their supervisors, their suppliers, or salespeople. They send people who are looking for a job to Human Resource. You're getting sent to Human Resource because of what you are saying, and that's what I call stupid stuff. We worked with him. Took a while. But after 8 minutes of getting through this idea of what do you mean he should have to talk to me because I'm a job seeker, I finally said, okay, do you have another approach? He said, yeah, you guys taught it to me. I said, give it to me. And this is what he said. Hi, my name is so-and-so. I have 7 years experience as an exceptional men's retail clothier. For example, at the last store that I worked at, I increased sales in my department by 20% month over month for 9 months in a row. I also increased turns on our racks from 6 turns to 9 turns a year. Is that what you're looking for? I said, why aren't you saying that? He said, well, I didn't want to waste it. I wanted to use it when I got into their office. I said, use that, you'll get in the office. He used it. The next Monday, this is Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I am talking to him. The next Monday, my staff person comes and said, you'll never guess who started this weekend as a men's retail clothier at this department store. And I said, you're kidding. She said, yes. Now, I want to point this out. He's going into retail, and he got a job on Black Friday weekend, the worst weekend for retail clothiers. And what's amazing is that same sales manager had rejected him 3 times when he said stupid stuff. Stop saying stupid stuff. The how can I help attitude will help you stop saying, I'm looking for a job. Do you have any job openings? Here's my resume. Have you made a decision yet? And I completed your online application. We have to stop saying those things and start talking like professionals, which brings us to the next step. The next step is you have to maintain your professional identity and think like one, whatever that is, whether it's in retail or manufacturing or IT or whatever. What happens is the longer we're out of work, the more we begin to lose that identity. And by the way, all of us have multiple identities. We have identities based on our gender. We have identities based on where we grew up. We have identities based on our status. One of our identities is our professional identity. And that identity, when we lose our job, begins to disappear. And you can tell if it's disappearing because you're at a party and someone says, so what do you do for a living? And you stumble because instead of saying, well, I'm an accountant, You say, well, I'm in between jobs, or I'm looking for something, or you don't know what to say. That's a sign that you've lost your professional identity. And the problem with that is when we lose that identity, we start taking on what I call the job seeker identity. It fills the vacuum. And that job seeker identity thinks squirrely. For example, job seekers think that great jobs are advertised. So they look on job boards, they look in newspapers, and when they don't see any good jobs being advertised, they doubt anything good is out there. Another job seeker thinking is they focus on themselves in meetings. They go into a meeting, a very important meeting with important people, and their whole focus is on them and not on the people they are meeting with. They pull out or send resumes as the first thing. Immediately pull out their resume and give it to people, not understanding that the only people who carry resumes are job seekers. Most people who are working don't have their resume with them. Next, they chase people, not information, and they call it networking. They keep trying to get more and more people, but they never get good information from them other than, are you hiring, or do you know someone who is hiring? And when the people say no, they move on to find the next person. Another thing job seekers do is they use an advertised job description to prepare for a $500,000 meeting. That's based on the assumption that they're going to get $100,000 a year and they're going to stay on that job for 5 years. That's the $500,000. And they will walk into that meeting and the only preparation they've done is maybe reading some websites and a job description they printed off Indeed or Monster or some of the boards. Totally unprepared for that kind of a meeting. And finally, they irritate decision makers by asking them, have you made a decision yet, in what they call follow-up. These are things that the job seeker identity causes people to do, and they don't work well. Now, the how can I help thinking goes this way. First, they recognize that decision makers hire people they know or they see as solutions. They realize that many organizations need help to achieve their goals, to overcome their problems. Their goal then is to find those people and say, how can I help you achieve your goals? The focus isn't on me, the focus is on them and how they need help to achieve their goals. Next, they talk shop with colleagues to help find people they can help and to stay current. And they don't keep saying, have you got a job? Is anyone hiring? Do you know of any jobs? Instead, they talk about, so what are the projects you're on? What do you think about that new upgrade that's just come out? We cover that in asking questions to identify wants and needs. In addition, they prepare for meetings by gathering information. Once again, asking questions, recognizing that one sheet of paper does not adequately prepare you for a $500,000 meeting. They do their due diligence, and we talk about that in the section on asking questions. Next, they share solid information to help people make good decisions. They recognize their purpose is to share solid information so that the decision makers can make good decisions. And because of that, when they reconnect, it is reconnecting to give more information to make good decisions. This concept of thinking the how can I help thinking versus the job seeker is crucial to making this success. And I'm going to warn you, the job seeker thinking, it's like a black hole gravitationally pulling you back into it. So you have to keep pulling yourself back out to how can I help? Remember Vic, I don't want to be an intern. Caught himself. But how can I help? This then makes it not about you. It's about how you can help them. And what you're going to help them with is you're going to help them with their goals that they need to get their company, their team, organization ahead. It's about how you can help them solve the problems that are preventing them from getting their goals. It's about how you can help them achieve their agenda using what you love to do most and less of what you don't like to do. And finally, it is about you becoming the light at the end of the tunnel that they see. You are the solution that can help them get to where they want to go. That's the key. It's not about you. It's about how you can help them. And when you recognize how many organizations need what you have to offer, your purpose, your passion, your motivated skills, then it's all about finding those people. And when you find those people, a change takes place. One lady once described looking for a job as the most demeaning experience she had ever had. She said, I feel like I'm standing on a corner holding a sign saying we'll work for food, but it's worse than that because I have to chase the cars down the road shouting, pick me, pick me. But once she changed, it's not about her, it's about there are people who need her help. And how can she help? She also got to the point where she said, I'm having so much fun on this job search. Looking for people who are in trouble or people who want to do something and I might be able to help them do it is so much nicer than chasing them down the street with my cardboard sign. So adopt the how can I help attitude. You're going to hear us refer to this multiple times in this course. This is a long unit because that's a crucial element. Thank you.